breaking news. It's not even really breaking. John Lynch said it on the radio on Friday, and he said, Christian McCaffrey has bilateral Achilles tendonitis. And of course, no one knows what bilateral Achilles tendonitis means. It turns out it means that it's in both of those legs, both of them. And that's not great. It seems like it started off in one. He was rehabbing, trying to come back, overuse, let it to spreading to the other one. How does this news make you feel?
Not good. That's my analysis. Not good.
There it is, everyone.
The thing that makes me like automatically and like, despite maybe popular belief, I'm not a doctor, but when I think about this situation, it makes me wonder, since it's both, feels like an accumulation injury, which we kind of thought it was even with just one leg, but with two, it really seems like that's what it is, like a usage type thing. And it makes you wonder, would Christian McCaffrey be going through this right now if they used Jordan Mason more last year? When Christian McCaffrey wouldn't be subbed out, if they made him stand out, let Jordan Mason get some run, if they made that happen, would he be going through this right now? That's what it makes me jump to. Obviously, I'm assuming, but that's what I'm speculating on, and it feels like that's correct.
Yeah, to me, this is like roster politics gone wrong. You knew Jordan Mason was a good running back, but he was an undrafted free agent, and even though he was averaging 6 yards a carry, you couldn't really justify putting him on the field when you traded like 4 draft picks and gave and you were spending 15, 16, 17 million dollars a year on this running back that the ownership was invested in. And it's tough to get them to sign off on it, although it was Jed's idea, and then turn around and be like, that running back that you guys spent all that money on, you love, and he's the face of the team. We're going to go with Jordan Mason for like half the carries, and it'll be okay because it'll preserve Christian. That there's a lot of pressure from just the whole organization, and then pressure from Christian. That's documented. He had no guaranteed money left on his deal. As we know, he was angling for a restructured deal with guaranteed money. So he was going to fight for every touch and every carry so he could goose up his numbers and have the most leverage possible, and paid off with an Offensive Player of the Year award. So there are a lot of reasons, but still the right thing to do would have been to play Mason.
Here's the question. Why look, Christian McCaffrey is a great person, great teammate, one of the best running backs to ever play the game. But why is no one talking about this contract that he got, that the 49ers gave him, despite him having this injury? Like, people are ripping Brandon Ayuk for getting paid and then coming out and not playing like himself for these first 4 games. But at least he's playing. At least he didn't try to get a contract while he was injured. I mean, I think this is something that should be talked about, that's under talked about throughout from the fan base, the media. Like, why did they give him a contract when he was injured? It doesn't seem like a smart thing to do.
Yeah, and like about a month ago, I had that report from a source that said that the owners of the team, the upper ups, the financial people, were not pleased with the financial status of the team, and the source pointed specifically to the Ayuk and Trent Williams contracts. As you just pointed out, neither one's looking great, but because Ayuk definitely doesn't look like a top 5 wide receiver in the league, although he's paid that way. And Trent Williams, it's debatable if he's still the best left tackle in the league, but at least they're on the field. The worst contract, the one that really should be angering the financial, the bean counters the most, or the check writers the most, is McCaffrey's. And it's not just that he has bilateral Achilles tendonitis, and it's not just like frustration with him. It's potential, like, not just anger, but anger at Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch. Like, did you guys know that he had Achilles tendonitis and give him an extension anyway? Because if so, I mean, and he never plays again, or he's compromised, and they don't win a Super Bowl, and they start a gradual backslide, feels like a fireable offense.
There's a couple things that make me mad about it, and we talked about them. But the first one is, it feels like it. He was 27 years old last year, running back. He's been in the league for a long time. If you look at his previous history, when he had as many touches as he had last year, the following season he played 3 games. So you have the history there, right? And then they go ahead and they use him so much. Like, all of us, everyone was talking about it. Even the biggest 49er stands were talking about the usage from CMC last year, and it seemed like it was inevitable. That if you keep playing him this much, he's going to get hurt, and then he gets hurt in week 17. It's the same injury he's dealing with now. It's the exact same injury he's dealing with now. And now we find out it's both legs. So it seems avoidable. So that's frustrating. And then the other thing is you went and paid him guaranteed money knowing that he's dealing with this without clearing him first. Like, it just, both of those moves seem like mistakes.
Yeah, and it feels a little foolhardy. Like, don't you know his history? Don't you know who this is? It's Christian McCaffrey. He played in Carolina for a long time and had these issues. Not Achilles issues, but injury issues. Like, he's supposed to be a Hall of Fame caliber running back, a bell cow, someone that you can run your whole offense through, your running game, your passing game, a number one option in every single way. And he was that in Carolina early on. Like, I'm looking at his numbers right now. In 2019, he was all pro, first team all pro, led the league in touches, led the league in yards from scrimmage, led the league in touchdowns. He did that at 23 years old. It's incredible. Are you thinking like this guy's a Hall of Famer? The next year he had 76 touches. Year after that, 136. So to me, like the story of Christian McCaffrey's career, it may not be over, but it's a guy, a little running back, a scat back, a guy who's built like Reggie Bush, who maxed out his body and had a few seasons, 2, 3, 4, where he was the best running back in football. But I don't think his body could handle it. I don't think he could.
You know, it's funny, man. I was talking to Croc this morning on a show, and he was like, man, I thought Christian McCaffrey was going to be a slot receiver when he got to the NFL. He would have got paid more, and his career probably would have lasted longer, and he probably would have been all pro at that as well. Yeah, man, when you play running back, you just look at trajectories. When they hit 28, for most running backs, when they hit 28, they're done. And I hope that's not the case for Christian McCaffrey. I hope, not only do they get their money's worth, but us as fans get to see him back to his old self and playing for the 49ers this year, and maybe it'll happen. But it is a little sketch.
All right, let's just come back to earlier. If they miss the playoffs, they're 2-2. If they miss the playoffs and the owners just determined that Kyle and John knew about this, like Christian he injured his calf on New Year's Eve, week 17 last year against Washington. He left the game. It was a calf injury. So this stems from that day.
Mm-hmm.
And if the Yorks sour on Kyle for any reason and are looking for a reason to trade him or run him out of town, this is it. I mean, it's not the Ayuk one. It's not the Trent one. It's not only did you give all this money to an older running back, you knew he had this injury and you were friends with his dad. Like your dad is friends with his dad. It feels very, like family-ish.
Yeah. You went to his wedding.
Yeah. It's just a bad look all around.
You got to make the tough decisions. And, that's the thing is with CMC, he's so great. But like maybe you want to see him cleared to play in a game before you give him a new contract. Maybe that just do that. Like, let's see him be cleared to play in a game before you give him a contract. Start there. CMC, we would love to give you the guaranteed money, but we need to make sure you're healthy first. Like, let's see if you can get you acclimated to play a game, and then we'll take care of you. That would have been the move.